Hey everyone, I'm Laura from the Choosing Content podcast, where I chat weekly about topics close to my heart: being content, living intentionally, and choosing joy. Thank you for joining me for today's episode. Thank you for joining me again. Here at the Choosing Content podcast, I will be chatting weekly about topics close to my heart: being content, living intentionally, and choosing joy. For those that know me, you know that I was raised with a PBJ mindset. Almost everything we did was either practical, biblical, or something that Jesus would endorse. It is my fervent hope that Choosing Content podcast will be just that. You may have some questions, and I get that. Why a podcast? Why now? What qualifies you to do these things? Let me share a little bit about my background and hopefully a little bit about me to make all of this tie together. My name is Laura. I grew up in Southeast Texas. My dream job as a kiddo was actually to be a public speaker. You know those kids, the ones that don't mind to make the announcements for the whole school, or the ones that do not mind to give a testimony for the church. It never bothered me, and I was always happy to do it. I assumed, however, that I would be speaking for public relations or perhaps a ministry, depending on how life turned out. After graduating from high school, I attended Texas A&M University, where I earned a degree in communication. Shortly thereafter, I added an elementary education certificate, where I landed the perfect speaking career. I had a built-in audience that was required to come hear my speeches for an entire academic year. Fine, they were academic learning standards rolled into lessons, but my students and I had fun, and I loved that I had measurable ways of making sure that they had retained all the information that I was pouring into them. Well, since those days, I have married and temporarily retired from my teaching career to raise our daughter. Staying at home isn't really in my wheelhouse of comfort. I like getting out of the house, engaging with people, time management. Sometimes I feel like a fish out of water. Sometimes I feel like I need a creative outlet. But not the bow-making, crafty kind. That kind of stresses me out, and it doesn't go well. But I am creative when it comes to pen and paper and thinking. Interesting. So several months ago, I was assessing my life, which I often term as enchanted because I live a very good one, versus the life that I had imagined for myself as a teen. You know, there were lots of things that absolutely exceeded my expectation of life. Then there were some other things that I had let go of, namely speaking. It had taken me less than 10 seconds of reflecting and asking myself how to reimagine the dream that I once had. Podcasting is something that I can do from home, and while it isn't in front of a crowd, it does allow me the opportunity to communicate and share hope with others. And that's what I'm after. This Choosing Content podcast is my effort to rekindle a dream I once had. So for 2021, I hope you'll join me weekly as I share about choosing a content life. This is an entirely new thing for me as I learn more about sound and recording and editing, and I will need grace as I learn. But I'm so excited to share some of the things that have been on my heart for literally years. I think it will bless you, and I can't wait to share it. Again, this is Laura from the Choosing Content podcast. I hope to meet you back here next week. Now, let's go find the good today.